Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. I always love having people who want to give back and be part of the solutions in their communities on the show. And today I am excited to have Travaris McCurdy on the show. He is a candidate for campaigning for Florida House District 40, which we'll explain that to you all in a minute, what that entails. And he's got a great story. His bio is phenomenal. I just love all of the things that you put in it, and you have some passions that you want to talk about, and I really respect that when people can come on and talk about their passions. So we're excited to have you, Travaris. Welcome. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm wonderful, and I'm happy to be here on the Ted Bogert Show. This is an honor. It's a pleasure, and it's a wonderful day to be here in the city, beautiful.
Wonderful day. Agreed. Wonderful to see you. And of course, we got to give a shout out to our dear friend Retta. I'm
Absolutely,
pretty sure she's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
absolutely.
So big shout out to Retta. We love you and appreciate you so much. All right. So I told you before we went live that the audience loves to know about you, and you've got a great Orlando story. So give us a little background on you and kind of your point A to point B.
Well, hey, first, thank you to all the listeners and viewers of the TED Show. My name is Travaris McCurdy, and I'm a native son of Central Florida, born and raised right here in Orlando, in the city beautiful in Orlando. So I've seen all the transformations from the departure of Rosie O'Grady to the upgrade in infrastructure in I-4, and what a headache that was, right? But I am a son of this community, having been educated in Orange County Public Schools, raised the oldest of three children, a single parent, grew up in a one parent household. My dear mother, hard worker, always instilled great values in me, values of faith. The church has been a center point of my life. 41 years old now, and again, having just been educated in this community, it's very humbling for me to have the support, respect, and confidence of people who I admired, people who have imparted so much in me. And so it's really an honor, a privilege to be considered as a leader in my community, and for to be considered on the list of people to consider to vote for me, and to trust me, to be a voice for them. And none of this would have been possible. And I love running. I have a relationship now at 41 years old with my third grade teacher from elementary school. And those kind of stories, those kind of connections, type of relationships, you just don't really see anymore. So I'm not a transplant. I love my community. It's the community that helped me become the man that I am today. So that's Travaris McCurdy, from Carver Shores to
From
Pine
Carver
Bluff.
Shores.
Absolutely,
Love it. And thank you
absolutely.
for pronouncing your name correctly, because obviously Travaris. These
I
are
tell
big.
people it's bar like far, but I've heard every variation. I've
I
heard
will.
every.
I won't mess it up again. So before we get into your why, because one of the things that fascinates me about public service and being a public servant is your why behind it, because it's not an easy road to hoe for sure. Tell us what Florida House District 40, what does that represent? What people are represented by Florida House District 40?
So Florida, that's a great question, Ted. Like seriously, because just yesterday, I was speaking to a gentleman, and he was like, "You're running to be a representative in D.C. in Congress." I said, "No, they have similar titles. They sound the same, but we have three different levels of government. You have your local, state, and federal. And so I am running to serve on the state level, as I have in the past. I'm a former state representative. I served from 2020 to 2022. And on the state level, we have members of the House of Representatives. There are 120 in total, and we call that the lower chamber. And we have what we call the upper chamber, which is the Florida Senate. There are only 40 state senators across the state. And constitutionally, the roles of the members of the legislature, either in the House or Senate, you're constitutionally bound to pass a balanced budget and to pass and enact laws and legislation. those are really the only two real constitutional duties. But obviously, the job it's very more much more expansive. It's what you do to take care of your constituents at home. I try to tell people when they talk about the legislative process, they automatically just think Tallahassee, 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 which is where we conduct most of our official business at the state capitol. But it's what you do at home. I like to take the 60-40 rule. 40% of what you do in Tallahassee, it should be 60% at least what you do at home. And whether that's helping people with unemployment issues, because that is under the state's jurisdiction, whether it's addressing issues from prisons, safety in prisons, those are run by the state. And so those type of things are what I'm looking to not only address, but to represent the folks in District 40. Where's District 40? District 40 includes portions of Pine Hills, Ocoee, Winter Garden, South Apopka, and even portions of College Park and Lockhart. So it's very diverse, it's very large. Each representative represents approximately 110 to 120 constituents.
So I'm glad that you defined that, because I think a lot of people don't know their districts. They don't know they don't understand how it's set up. So thank you for sharing that, because it gets confusing when you have the different levels and then you have the similar names, and then some overlap, some don't, and don't even get me started on city and county commissioners. It's very, very confusing, the whole thing. So thank you for sharing that. I think it's very important for people to understand what areas you represent, so that people can get more informed on what you'd like to do. So before we dive deeper into that, public service. So public service is, I think a lot of people glorify it or make it seem like it's all, travel and photography, and, you get all these great pictures and go to these great parties, but it's a lot of work. It's also taxing on, and it's a sacrifice for you and your family. So when you go in with a servant's heart and a public service position, you really have to know what you're getting into, which you've had that experience on. Right. What I'd like to know is why. Why would you not want to be behind the scenes? Why is being a public servant, an elected public servant, important for what you want to try to accomplish?
Well, I can tell you it's not to line my pockets, because a state representative only makes $29,000 a year, so it's not for the money. But what boils down to me is service is the debt that you pay for the space that we occupy on Earth. And I have been afforded just a blessed opportunity to be under some of the most revered, some of the most knowledgeable elected officials, primarily in the late Senator Geraldine Thompson, who gave me my start in the legislative process. And just to go back and to connect the dots of history, me having the opportunity to serve as her chief legislative aide, the late Senator Geraldine Thompson was a legislative aide for the first African American woman ever elected to the Florida legislature, and the late Gwendolyn Sawyer Cherry. So for someone with her past, her background, her pedigree, her resume, to see something in a kid from this community, to give me an opportunity to be exposed to that process. So I have a debt, I have an obligation to not hoard the institutional knowledge that I have attained, but also to marry and couple that with the lived experience, being right here from this community, born to a single, being raised by a single mother, and now a husband, a father, myself, right here in this same community that educated me, that gave me an opportunity. It's my obligation and my debt for the space that I occupy on Earth to impart in the next generation, but has been fortunately imparted in me. So I'm fortunate to have that legislative experience, those relationships, but I also have a voice and a perspective that is oftentimes missing in those chambers. And so that's my approach. That's what I look to contribute during what I feel are my golden years. Um, I have the most energy, and I have a lot of professional development that I've been able to attain and acquire. And I'm just excited about the opportunity to serve the district that helped me grow. And now we classmates that I went to middle and high school with. Now we're parents now, and we
Yes.
want to take care of our families and our children and leave society better than what we found it. I was a Boy Scout growing up, and we were taught to leave things better than what we found it.
Love it. Let's take a deeper. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. I think it's always so important to understand the why behind things. A lot of times I have candidates come on and they really don't know how to express their why. And so it's very refreshing. It's a great thing for people to understand that and to also know that it is a big deal and it takes a lot and you're not in it for the money or the glamour or the glory. You're in it for the right reasons. So thanks for sharing that. Let's take a deeper dive into District 40. So it covers a wide range
Yeah.
of socioeconomic, business. You've got a wide range of people and your constituents. Tell me about, because you talked a little bit about it and touched on some of it, but what specifically would you love to accomplish, or at least work toward as the state house representative for District 40?
We have a huge property insurance crisis, not just in District 40, not just in Orlando. It's statewide. It's nationwide. I want to be able to alleviate and bring some real results and relief to families. I'm a, being a young family man myself, recently married. I see just the crushing property insurance or rent increases because everybody hasn't had the opportunity to live what we were taught as the American dream of home ownership, which we know is the pathway to self-sufficiency, to legacy, and just to financial empowerment and financial growth. So, in District 40 is just it's so unique, it's so diverse. Unlike most districts where they're only one local municipality within that district, District 40 has the distinct pleasure having a city of Ocoee, a city of Winter Garden, a city of Apopka, and there shouldn't be a one size fits all solution for a lot of the issues that we face. And in Tallahassee, there's something that we call home rule. And I have fought tirelessly as an aide, as a member to protect home rule because what I say, what works in Apopka won't necessarily work in South Florida. And so we elect local commissioners, local mayors, because they are the ones closest to the people. They don't go back and forth to Tallahassee like state representatives. They don't go back and forth to DC like federal members of Congress. They're home in those districts every day. We should entrust them as we elect them to make the best decisions for the folks who are closest to them at home in these communities. Every community is unique. Every community is different. And within District 40, we have a lot of small business owners. People want to be able to take care of their families. They want to be able to protect their businesses. And I want to protect businesses from the grand opening to the handoff to the next generation. And how do we do this? This means by cutting red tape for certifications and licensing and just making it easier and more attractive for small businesses to be able to be self-sufficient and sustain. I want more grand openings and not businesses closing in this district. So, how can the state be partners with our business community? I manage small business development for the fourth largest airport in the United States with the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority. So, I know, just pairing subcontractors with prime contractors and helping subcontractors grow to eventually be prime contractors so they can make more money, yes, but more importantly, they can employ more people in this district. And with the crushing cost of property insurance, the price of groceries going up, the price of gasoline, while we necessarily can't dictate those prices at the state level. There are ways that we can be creative. I'm looking to work bipartisan. Yes, I'm running as a Democrat, but I understand the numbers for Democrats are just not there. So if you're looking to go to Tallahassee to do anything just exclusive with members of your party or your caucus, you're not being honest with the electorate. Travaris McCurdy is looking to work bipartisan to find some common sense solutions. I don't have to have my name on the top of a bill as the author of it, but if it makes sense for the people in my district, I will support it because I just want to bring relief to families that need it the most.
Love it. All right. So I have to ask you, you mentioned it and I was going to ask it anyway. So it's a great segue. The trouble or the challenge that we have locally is voter turnout. So what would you say to someone? Because I hear it a lot, a lot. My one vote doesn't matter. My one vote doesn't make a difference. Nothing's going to change based on my one vote. How would you try to encourage those people differently?
Well, obviously, I believe that every vote counts. And you can look at, even past gubernatorial races 2 cycles ago. DeSantis won this state by less than 1% his first election. There are races decided by less than 100 votes, less than 50 votes. So every vote really does count. I'll take it a step further. I've even heard, in conversations with voters as we're knocking on doors and talking to people, there are people who don't want to register to vote because they don't want to serve jury duty, and they link the two. And so I was even, talking to my team and thinking about proposing a bill in Tallahassee to decouple the supervisor of elections office and jury duty and saying maybe the folks at the courthouse, why can't they tap into the system and contact information with the Department of Highway and Safety Motor Vehicles? Everyone has to update their licenses. We have the real ID issue. Everyone every year has to update their vehicle registration. So if people are being turned off from voting because they don't want to serve jury duty, which makes no sense to me because I say, hey, listen, if there's a situation that happens to one of your loved ones and there's not the right state attorney in office to bring charges, you didn't not only vote for the state attorney, but you didn't vote, and just so you're losing on both sides. You don't have a say in who's representing you, and then you don't want to serve jury duty. So if your loved one or someone is in a criminal case, they necessarily won't have a jury of their peers. So you don't have a say in who is bringing charges or not bringing charges, and you don't have a say in in allowing affording somebody to have a jury of their peers. So we should look at decoupling that to see if we can increase voter turnout and participation. But people died, people lost their lives historically for the right to vote. And we don't have to look far. Right here in District 40, there's the story of Julius July Perry, who lost his life, was lynched just to get people to register to vote. And we're not too far removed from that. And people just, just try to remind folks, your ancestors, you're part of a lineage. I don't care what color you are, what religion you are. People fought for the right to vote. Women didn't always have the right to vote. So this is not just a black issue. This is a human issue. This is a people issue. And if you have people that you care about and that you love in your family, like the small children that I take care of every day in my family, you have an obligation to them because they can't vote. So at least vote in their stead if you don't think it's more important enough to vote for yourself.
Well said, my friend. Yes, you all get out and vote. Your vote counts.
Absolutely.
Well, I do a lot of talking about that. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. I just think it's so important. We have unfortunately accepted the apathy and I just want to encourage people to get out and have your voice heard. Your voice is heard when you vote. All right.
Strength in numbers.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying there's strength in numbers. There's strength in numbers.
Strength in numbers. Before we wrap up, when is the election?
Wonderful question. The election is right around the corner. This is a special election. So at the top of the year, when we were saying Happy New Year, this was on no one's radar. So this election, it was just called by the governor, and election day will be June 24th. Early voting will take place starting the week of June 14th. You have until May 27th to register to vote, and you have until June 12th to request a vote by mail ballot if you prefer to vote by mail. And just a side note to that, if you voted by mail in the most recent presidential election, those vote by mail requests have expired, and you must re-request and update your signature in order to receive a vote by mail ballot. You can do that by visiting your local supervisor of elections office, because I know the TED Show has a much farther reach than just Orange County, So wherever you are, you need to update your voter registration and update your vote by mail request.
Fantastic. So it's around the corner, you all, June. And I'll put the link to the elections website so that you can, if you're of that, you can actually go online, I think, and change
Yes.
vote by mail again. One last question. I always like to ask a personal question. You talked about all of this people that you've had the opportunity or the blessing to serve under, work with, growing up here. Can you name one person who has had the greatest impact on you?
Wow. Aside from my mother, just watching her persevere, um, and now being a father myself, I realized that there's no handbook on how to be a parent. I mean, especially when it's your first child. I mean, because now I think about it, I'm like, wow, when you have your first child, that's their first time being a child. That's your first time being a parent. So you're both kind of learning as you go and as you grow together. I admire her. She's been employed with the Orange County Sheriff's Office my entire life. So she's on her way to retirement. All three of her children are married with their own families. And I just think that's a testament. You want the generation after you to be better. And my mother has definitely, if it wasn't for her, and what you do at home behind closed doors, everyone doesn't see. So she helped raise a child that would be receptive and respectful and able to receive the opportunities to work for people who our community respects. But without my mother, just giving me a good foundation, I don't know if I would be able to or willing to even receive those relationships and those opportunities. So I don't want to overlook mom. And hey, listen, we're just a few days away from Mother's Day. So I just think that's fitting for me to honor mom and give her flowers while she can still smell them.
That's so good. It's always so good. I love that part of the interview because it's so good to say it out loud. And so you said it eloquently and beautifully. God bless your mom. All right, Travaris, tell us the best way they can find out more about you and learn how they can vote and learn about the district and all things Travaris.
Well, you can always follow me on social media at Rep R-E-P McCurdy, McCurdy. And my friend Ted has the lovely disclaimer that is going across your screen. And you can always find more information about me by visiting votemccurdy.com. And I'm a friend, I'm a neighbor, and I just hope to be a voice for you that you can trust and be proud of.
Perfect. What a great time it was listening and understanding and hearing what makes you tick and your why. I really appreciate it, Travaris. And again, big shout out to Retta for the introduction. You all get out and vote. It's so important to vote.
Please.
I can't stress it enough. Don't make it a task. It's such a privilege. And your voice really, really does matter. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for sharing your heart. Travaris McCurdy for State House District 40, you all. June is the election. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for being on the show, Travaris.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you. See you guys later. Bye, everybody.